Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the Salescast Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we are on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
Are you ready to discover what sets the best workplaces apart? We are so proud to introduce Culture from the Heart, our newest show launching in January. We'll be diving into conversations with the CEOs of heart-centered companies, leaders who built cultures that inspire and thrive.
And we're on a mission to find the heart-centered CEOs of America. Join us as we uncover the secrets behind award-winning workplaces and learn how these visionaries lead with purpose.
And you can help. Do you work for a company with a heart-centered CEO? We would love to interview them. You can nominate them now at www.culturefromtheheart.com. Look forward to the show in January, and if you have a CEO that's heart-centered, nominate them today at www.culturefromtheheart.com. Welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
It's a lovely day here at Selling from the Heart. Something tells me, in fact, I trust we're going to have a good time today, Darrell Amy.
I trust it will be a premium episode. We've got the Doctor of Trust, our friend Yoram Solomon, here in the studio. This is going to be a powerful conversation. And I'm so excited about all that's going on here at Selling from the Heart. Hats off once again, Larry, on just the success of selling in a post-trust world. We continue to get great feedback from people who are reading the book and implementing it. And I'm just so excited about all of the different folks we get to meet along the way as this movement we call Selling from the Heart continues to grow.
It's just so good seeing everyone wave the flag on actually both books. But I have to give a shout out to somebody, and you got to bear with me, Darrell, because this person actually watches our podcast as this person produces our podcast. So
that's right.
Chris Decker and your team at Creator Spark, we appreciate you because, A, you make me look good, but you make me look better than Darrell. That's all that matters, Chris. So we appreciate you.
And that takes a lot of work. So yes, shout out to Chris and Creator Spark. You guys do an incredible job. Well, the Trust Premium, the Doctor of Trust is in the house. We're honored today to have Dr. Yoram Solomon, founder of the Trust Habits Institute and a leading authority on building trust, back here with us today. He is the prolific author of 20 books, including his latest release, The Trust Premium, and also the widely acclaimed book, The Book of Trust. As a host of the Trust Show, Yoram delivers actionable insights on fostering trust within organizations. With extensive academic credentials, including a PhD in organization and management, an MBA, and a law degree, Yoram has published over 400 articles and teaches entrepreneurship at Southern Methodist University. Yoram is a repeat guest at the podcast, and we're thrilled to have him back. Yoram, welcome back to the Selling from the Heart studios. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's so great to be with you again.
There we go. We're going to have a great time. I know we are. I'm looking forward to this one.
I read, by the way, I read your new book and I really like it.
That's good. I was nervous. Okay, I was nervous. I have to admit, I was nervous.
Well, we've got the Doctor of Trust.
Yes, the Doctor of Trust is with us. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, when I say I read the book, I really meant the first 12 pages. I mean,
oh, that's great. Well, Yoram, you're a repeat guest here on the Selling from the Heart podcast. So you know the question we ask every guest, and I'm curious your thoughts today on what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
You know, you reminded me of that question just a minute ago, and I had to think about it. How do I give a different answer from what I gave last time? And first of all, as you know, I already turned 60, so I don't remember what I said last time. In fact, I don't remember what I said 2 hours ago. But really, if I have to answer it seriously, what does it mean to sell from the heart? It means not to sell from something else. And the something else is a script. It's a magical formula, which everybody uses. And it's amazing how people just go through the formula. The calls that I get, somebody who says, we are checking roofs in your area and we thought about stopping by. I don't know you. I don't know anything. But they're reading from a script. So selling from the heart is put this all aside and just really, really try to see how do you add value to your customer.
Oh, this is so good. So let's continue on this. So walk us through this, because I'm a massive believer. Scripts are okay. They form the foundation, but you got to make it your own. But continue on this. You got to bring the value, because at the end of this, you got to build trust. So how do you start formulating all this together? I'm just curious.
No, actually, that's all I had. I don't have anything beyond. No, but seriously, how do you start? Well, it starts with several different aspects. I mean, if I go back to why did I even work on the Trust Premium book, it went back to 2018, I think, is when I did this survey. My focus was not on trust in sales; it was trust in general. And so I asked this question. I asked, I think, 363 participants or something like that. What is the most important quality for you in another person? And I gave them 6 types of people. I asked about your boss, your employees, your peers, a salesperson trying to sell you something, your government representative, and your spouse. What's the most important quality? On average, it was 61.2% trustworthiness. 61.2%, more than all the next ones combined. But you know what? The interesting thing was that when I asked about a salesperson trying to sell you something, that number was the highest at 77.4%. That's interesting. So we value trustworthiness in salespeople more than anyone else, including my spouse, which was 77.2%. So let's see if people are willing to put their money where their mouth is. So I started asking, I gave this scenario, a project that you're trying to do, about a $10,000 project, and you're asking, I described 2 salespeople. One of them, without saying trustworthy, I described him as trustworthy. The other one, without describing them as not trustworthy, I just described them as somebody you don't know. So, and I do an interesting exercise in my keynotes, but that's for the keynote. So I do that, and I ask them. They both gave you the same price. So one of them said it was a 10,000. The trustworthy one said 10,000. The other one said 10,000. Which one would you go with? Well, that's almost 100%, said the trustworthy one. I say almost because there were only a couple of percent, actually less than 2, who said, I don't know enough. I need to know more things. Fine, fair enough. So close to 100% said the trustworthy one. Well, what if the trustworthy one asked for 10% higher price than the one you don't know? Still, same number, 98.3%, same one, 20%. So the percentage started going down. And at some point I realized that there is a premium for trust. When you buy something, you mentioned value, you value. Why do you buy things? Why do people buy things? They buy things because the value that they're getting is higher than the price that you're asking, or at least the same. That's why people buy stuff. Now the question is, what's in value? And different people see different values in different things. In cars, what do I value in a car versus something else? I do that with my students at SMU. I ask them, what's the most important quality for you in a car? You get 40 students, you get almost 40 different answers of what's the most important one. There's one thing that's important to all, and that's trustworthiness. So the fact that I can trust the salesperson. And so I kind of calculated it, got to a number 29.6%. So people are actually willing to pay a 29.6% higher price when they buy from somebody they trust. Okay, fair enough. And I sat, this was about 2 years ago, I sat with a friend of ours, actually the person who introduced us, Mark Hunter, Hunter, and he said, I don't think that anybody ever quantified that. That's when I started the research for Trust Premium, to find that First of all, different industries have different premiums. Some industries have very high premiums. Different people have different, given their situation and circumstances, apply different premiums and what they're willing to pay. And, it comes down to, if you're trustworthy, you would actually, first of all, new customers would choose you over somebody else they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one, if they can trust you. Number two, you can even charge a higher price. Number three, they will stay loyal. Number four, they will recommend you to other people. And given what's happening today in, all the cold calls you're getting, spam, scam, your trust in an inbound unknown call is so low that the only thing that differentiates you is, can you somehow be trusted even at that first call?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what your question was. But I think this was a good answer.
It was a great answer.
Great answer. And really, all of this is in this book for our friends watching on YouTube or LinkedIn on the Premier, the Trust Premium, how to attract loyal customers who want to pay more, and who doesn't want loyal customers who want to pay more. And I think what's really interesting here, Yoram, in this book, and by the way, it's dog-eared, highlighted, and I think over the years, this thing is going to get more coffee spilled on it. And because there's just a treasure trove of very fascinating research I think all our listeners will want. And by the way, spoiler alert, the link to this book is in the show notes. So go grab you a copy right now. But you're going to thank us for it. But this, what's interesting, you talk in this book about how the profession of sales has evolved over the last 100 years. And because of sales tactics, marketing tactics, technology, all of these things, trust is in a lot of ways at an all-time low. You quoted a HubSpot report from, that said 3% of people trust salespeople on the surface. What I think is interesting about that is, my thought is, you've outlined this trust premium. I think the silver lining in selling in a post-trust world is that the less people trust salespeople in general, the more successful, trustworthy sales professionals are going to be, and the more successful profit-wise and revenue-wise. I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so this actually, the last line in the first part, this book has 4 parts. And the last line in the first part, I think, is something like, given everything that you just described, the scams, the spam, everything, we trust a sales call or a salesperson so little that trust is the only differentiator that you can have. And then obviously I go to different industries and why is this number different in different industries. But, I'll give you an example. I just had one of my water heaters. It started leaking, so I had to replace it. I got 2 salespeople coming in, 2 different companies. And, it's funny because having written the Trust Premium, I was getting outside of my body and observing the situation outside. And
I had no idea.
I ended up paying almost 10% higher price, knowing that I'm giving 10% higher price because I trusted one over the other. It was that simple.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think you were willing to fork out the extra money just in that personal consumer interaction for the trust? What was it between those two that said, okay, I'm going to give 10% more?
So without getting into all the fine details of the entire model that I've built over time by research, here are a couple of things. One thing was, one of the companies, the salesperson showed up and, they quoted me a price over the phone. He shows up and they said, hey, he needs to come over and look at the scene where he needs to put the new water heater. Well, he comes in, goes straight to the kitchen, and we sit down and he starts doing the math. And I'm like, wait, aren't you going up there to check, to the attic, to check the... He said, I don't need to. I know what it looks like. I'm like, but so... they said you need to come here so that you look at it. And he gives me a quote, and the quote is about 30-something% higher than what they said over the phone. I said, wait, why is it 30% higher? And he said, it's just that they don't assume that you're going to need this and that. But you didn't go upstairs. You knew
Right.
all of this. You knew on the phone.
Mm.
Why couldn't I get this bait and switch? So it's, an upsell. Those are techniques that are so used, I'm going to say overused, that they cause me to trust them less. So that was one example. The first one was nickel and diming me, that's this, we're going to need to add this valve. We're going to need to do this. The other one was like, look, I'm giving you a price. Whatever needs to be done to get this water heater to work, I'm going to cover it. I'm going to do it. It gives you a higher sense of I can trust them. And as a result, they came with two offers. One offer was almost 10% higher, and that's the one I chose, the second one.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about this, and
No, I don't.
You're going to find out here really quick. Oh boy, what do we
Always
sign up for, Darrell? What do we sign up for? I know, but
It should be the doctor of sarcasm. Not
no,
the
there we
doctor
go.
of trust.
I'm used to it because I hang out with Darrell. But no, in all seriousness, folks, and I always share this with salespeople. You're either building trust by what you say, or you're eroding trust by what you say. Take your pick, right? You can carry yourself however you want to carry yourself. But if y'all buy into words and messaging matter and how you connect to someone, what you just shared in the beginning, you're just eroding trust. I mean, absolutely eroding trust to the point where I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. You touched on, I built a model, the model of, I call it the relative trust model because trust is relative. And when you look at that model, it's really made of two big parts. One part is who you are, and the other part is what you do. So who you are is really everything I know about you before we started interacting. And whether it's through references or my own research that I've done or anything else that I know about you before you walked into the room. You probably heard this phrase, your reputation gets there before you do. Or what I like, there's a quote from a very famous astronaut by the name of Jeff Bezos, who said, your brand is what people think about, say about you when you're not in the room. So this is the who you are. But then, and this changes very slowly. Okay. But then there is the moment you walk in, what you do. And this is the level of empathy that you exhibit to the customer. And empathy is not sympathy or pity or compassion. It's really your ability to see things from the customer's perspective, recognizing that you are not them and that you need to see things from their perspective as if you were them. So, we're at different levels at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this, by the way, ties straight into your selling from the heart, because empathy comes from the heart. Your willingness and ability and to see things from their perspective. But you're right. And this is the seventh law of trust that I identified, is that trust is dynamic. It changes during that interaction. By the way, the biggest change happens the moment they walk in and the first impression that they make. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really focus on. What is the first impression that you make?
Well, in the book, this is a phenomenal book because, first of all, the credibility of the research here, that Dr. Solomon did his homework on this one. This is well documented. And I think this is actually a super gift to the sales world, because we know that trust is the currency of sales, but you've actually demonstrated, proven scientifically, trust is you've measured it, all of that. You had three numbers in here that were really fascinating to me, and you've alluded to these. One is the trust preference with everything else equal. What's the chance they'll buy from trust? It's like 98%, right? They're going to buy the trust premium. But you also talked about the no trust discount. And this is a very interesting number to me for the salesperson that goes, I don't need to do this. I'll just go in and quote the water heater like I do every other time. There is a no trust discount in addition to this 30% premium. Tell us about that.
So first of all, I need to explain what no trust means, because there is a continuum. Mm-hmm. So on one end of the continuum is the high trust. I trust this person very, very much. On the other extreme is the distrust. This is the active distrust. You have done something that caused me to distrust you. Now, if I was trying to compare someone you trust to someone you actively distrust, the premium would probably be infinite, because there is absolutely no way I'm buying from somebody I actively distrust. I have reasons to not trust them and never do business with them. That would have been misleading. So what I did in my research is compared to the middle. And the middle is what I call the no trust. No trust is, I don't actively distrust you. I don't actively trust you. I really don't know if I can trust you or not. And this is who I compared the trusted person to. So here is what a trusted person or a trustworthy salesperson does. What is the likelihood that you're going to choose from them, buy from them, compared to someone you don't know? So the no trust is right there in the middle. It's not somebody that you have reasons to distrust. And distrust, again, is an active action. So I said this. If I'm going to trust, so if I'm trusting one salesperson over another, the preference, what is the probability that I'm going to buy from them versus buying from the no trust person, so person I don't know, if the price was exactly the same, everything else equal, price is exactly the same, what is the probability that I'm good? And that's very close to 100%, as you noted. Mm-hmm. Then comes the trust premium. At what point is the probability of me buying from the trustworthy one versus the one I don't know gets to 50%? So now I'm at 50-50. That's the trust premium. That's what, on average, people are willing to pay. Customers are willing to pay. And that's when they switch from someone they don't know to someone they trust, or if the premium is higher, to someone they don't trust. There is another number that I mentioned in the book, even though I didn't give it a very specific definition, and that is, at what point is the customer willing to pay double? Mm-hmm. So there is a probability of the customer willing to pay double, and it's not zero. It's not zero. So for example, I did this for financial advisor. So I did different industries to see how the factors change between industries, because that's fascinating by itself. The numbers I'm giving you here are not for all industries. They vary, and sometimes dramatically, between industries. And that allowed me to identify 10 factors that affect what the trust premium would be. So we have the trust preference, my preference to one over the other when the price is the same. The trust premium, when we're at equal footing, the one I don't know versus the one I trust, what is the premium I'm willing to pay? Then the flip side of it is, if I'm the trusted one, and you're paying me whatever X number is, the fee, the price or anything, at what point can somebody you don't know be able to take my customer away? That's the no trust discount. What is the discount that somebody I don't know has to lower their price to for me to switch to them? And essentially, it's really the opposite of the trust premium. So you have to go through the math. But, for a financial advisors, I found, by the way, that customers on average are willing to pay 39.4% higher fees if they trust them versus somebody they don't know. Which means, on the flip side, that if you want to take away a customer from someone they trust, you're going to have to discount, I think the number is 28.3%. So you have to offer fees that are 28.3% lower to be able to take them away. And obviously, as the trusted salesperson, you want that number to be as high as possible, because that means that it's really, really going to be very painful for someone to take away a customer from me. I also call it the loyalty premium.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is fascinating. And I'm just curious, through your research, what's the trigger? I'm really curious on this. What's the trigger that goes on in someone's head? Where's the trigger that says, I trust Darrell or I trust Larry? Through your research, walk us through this, because there has to be some point in that conversation that clicks and they go, I trust that person.
Let me separate this into two parts and first say I also already mentioned that different industries have different trust premiums. What are the factors that affect that? So for example, the absolute consequences. What are the consequences of me hiring the wrong person? Somebody I should not have trusted, or they betrayed my trust. What are the consequences? That varies. That varies with industries. Another one is, do you, the salesperson, have a direct impact on those consequences? Take an insurance agent, for example. They don't have a direct impact on the consequences. They're really just the intermediary. The complexity. How much do I know? So there are things that vary in both the industry context, between different industries, and personal context. There are certain things that I know more than others. There are certain things that others know more than me. And in the right context, I may have a lower need for trust because I know what I'm doing. I know what they're doing well enough that I don't need to trust that they will do their job right, because I can observe and know if they're doing it right. So those are things that change. But you asked the question of, how do I decide whether I can trust them or not? So this goes back into what I call the relative trust model. Now, the reason I call it a relative trust model, and this is important to answer your question, is because trust is relative. And that's the second and third laws of trust. They change with person, they change with the context. When I say they change with person, I'm going to make a controversial statement here that I discovered when I wrote the book of trust. The same behavior that would cause one person, I'm going to say customer, the same behavior that would cause one customer to trust you could cause another customer to distrust you. The same behavior. Take, for example, one of the behaviors that I'm a strong proponent of is the customer is not always right. The customer is not always right. And many, many salespeople were raised and grown and trained on the customer is always right. Well, some customers need you to tell them that they're right, even if they're not. Some customers want you to be able to say, you are wrong. Here is what you really need. Same behavior, two different customers, two different decisions. So your ability to understand the customer, this specific customer, and forget everything you knew about, this absolute universal customer, because there is no such thing as an absolute universal customer. Put that aside, and now we're down to those components that I mentioned, the who you are, what you do, the who you are, how competent are you? And again, that varies with industry. In some industries, I don't care how competent. All you're doing is just taking the order. A car salesman, how competent they are. I don't care. I care more about how competent is the car manufacturer, right?
Right.
Competence, personality, compatibility. How compatible are we in our approach? And it doesn't mean that we have to see things the same way, but how compatible we are. And to a lesser extent, the symmetry of our relationship. That applies more to a kind of a symmetrical relationship between people, like inside organization. So this is the who you are. The what you do, it starts with the positivity, which is made of two components. Empathy, I already mentioned, and no bullshit. Can I say bullshit on your show?
Well, okay. Even if you couldn't, you already said it. So
So do I just bullshit my way? And there's so much of that going on that people just don't get. Salespeople, so many salespeople, they just don't get that the customer can see through it. They can see through it. You just think that you are misleading them or whatever. It's like this whole, I'm going to jerk up the price. I told you that it's going to be this amount, and then I come in, bait and switch, higher price, as if I don't see through it. So that's the positivity, and it accelerates with the amount of time that we spend together and the intimacy. One of the things that I fight for is, don't pick up the phone. Don't send an email. As soon as possible, have a face-to-face, even if it's through a Zoom call, through whatever video conferencing, so you can see, so the customer can see you. That accelerates building trust. It's a two-edged sword because it also can accelerate breaking trust. But assuming that you behave in a way genuinely selling from the heart, that you're really selling from the heart, that you're really trying to solve them a problem, then their ability to see you, to see your face, hear your tone of voice, and not only read your words, accelerates building that trust. So it's not, Larry, to your question, it's not a snap second where the customer says, that's it. It's a combination of things that go through our head.
What an incredible conversation. What an incredible gift to the sales world that this is, the trust premium. I know as we're wrapping this up, everyone's thinking to themselves, how do I get more Dr. Solomon in my life? Because I need more Dr. Solomon in my life.
That's okay, because my wife doesn't want me. So wait,
you're gonna work on that trust thing,
are you?
Yeah, she might not trust you.
We're going to put links to the book and resources in the show notes, but how else can folks get in touch with you?
Trusthabits.com,
awesome.
yoramsolomon.com. They happen to go to the same place.
Very good. Well, and that can only boost your trust. Yoram, what a pleasure to hang out with you today. Once again, thanks for putting this work, doing the work and putting this together. A total gift to the sales profession. You are truly a selling from the heart champion. And I know there's one last thing you'd like to share.
I have to tell you that your names, both your names are in the book, are mentioned in this book.
They are. Thank you very much.
Not just because having conversations with you, being friends for a while, seeing how you look at sales, very rarely did I meet people that were seeing things the way I do. And, I love the name. I would have called my book Selling from the Heart, or your latest book, Sales in a Post-Trust World. We just see things very, very similarly, and appreciate the fact that you do, that you see it.
Well, thank you. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, Dr. Solomon. What a gift. This has been a total pleasure today.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome.
What
a great, always fun hanging out with Yoram. And you know what's so cool? Well, first of all, what's cool is to find somebody that has done this genius level of work be so funny at the same time. It's really cool in this book when you get it and go to like page 112 and 113. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but it's so self-evident. Like when you add up the dollars and cents of that trust premium and what that can mean to you as a sales professional and to, the company overall. I mean, it is literally, he demonstrates how a trust premium can literally double profits for a company or for a sales professional. So this is definitely worth your attention, and trust is not just a feel good thing. These are the soft skills, as you say on the cover of your latest book, Larry, that yield the hard dollars. Trust is the ball game in sales.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would encourage everyone, go grab Dr. Solomon's book, because you've always heard this phrase over and over and over again. Trust takes time to build. It doesn't. It happens in the very first interaction. So what are you doing to either build trust or erode trust? But I do know this. Y'all are going to run out and go grab a copy of Dr. Solomon's book.
And let's all leave him a review as well and cheer this on. Thank you, by the way, to everyone who's cheering on Selling from the Heart. As you leave reviews and share this show, it helps us grow the voice of authenticity and trust right here in the sales profession we all love. Make sure to stay tuned. We've got great episodes coming your way throughout the rest of this season. We appreciate every single one of you. Until next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, create a trust premium, and most of all,
sell from the heart.